Okay, here we are, 13th Annual Classic, Cincinnati, Ohio.
Jack McCarron announces a $10,000 shopping spree to the Stren fishing team. This will be an added bonus to the $100,000 Classic purse that each member of the team will have a chance to win. Plus, the team will split an additional $5,000. Just another way for DuPont Stren to say, great fishing starts with Stren. That's why pros use Stren year after year. They know what it takes to win. Stren is the choice of people who fish for pay. Be a winner and pick up a pack of Stren, available in clear blue, golden, and clear. There are only 42 of us to take on more than 114 miles of the Ohio River. And that's not counting the 150 creeks and tributaries. We say that we're the best bass fishermen in the world. And if we're going to make any progress in this Bassmaster Classic, we'd better be. I suppose if you asked anybody in Cincinnati where they would go to catch bass, the Ohio River would be the last place they would mention. That's why this is such a tremendous challenge. It's a true test of the best. There are only a few minutes left now before the start of the 1983 Classic, and tension runs high. We have all had practice rounds and time to test these waters for whatever they might yield. We know what's ahead. It's a grueling 3 days of the hardest fishing we have ever done. Ray Scott is in position to give the signal.
Life fast, zip to the top, tail slits and fasten.
There's a lot of water to cover. We've got coves to explore, creeks to find, and precious few bass to catch. It's safe to say that every mile of the designated 114-mile stretch of the Ohio River will be covered by one of us today. The majority of the fishermen will go as far as possible before the 3 p.m. deadline. If we had more river to cover, we probably would try to cover it too. But as for now, getting there, wherever there is the most important thing. You see, this isn't as much a contest to beat the other fishermen as it is a test of our skills against the conditions and the bass that we're all trying to catch. Of course, the bottom line for all of us is beating the other contestants, because that's where the money is. In this case, the first place purse is $40,000. And that's certainly enough to make us put in a hard day's work. But why are we considered pros? Is it because we fish 5 days a week? Or because we can afford to pay $400 just to enter a tournament? Or does it go further? Let's let Ricky Green answer that question.
Well, I would consider myself a tournament pro because I've been in the Bassmaster Classic on 12 consecutive years. I think that a professional fisherman would be qualified a professional by being involved in tournaments, winning enough money to justify making a living from tournament fishing.
If you ask a pro the question, you would get answers like being able to have total concentration, controlling mental pressure, mental attitude, or just plain old common sense. To some folks, it might seem that professional fishing is an awfully easy way to make a living. After all, that's what people do for fun, right?
Well, catch one of them. I'm sitting here.
Well, in a way, perhaps. But if you fish the bass circuit, it can be some of the hardest work you'll ever do.
Wasn't moving fast, it was just kind of...
Like fishing for 2 practice days and 3 tournament days. Getting up at 4 a.m. trying to make breakfast by 5 and in the water by 6 a.m. Take Dowden here. He can tell you how much physical strength it takes to compete on the professional circuit.
Well, tournament bass fishing is a sort of a longevity aggravating kind of a physical strain. It's not a case of a sudden and quick stress kind where you get over with the misery real quick. You have to just keep after it, keep working all day long, and keep moving all the time.
We usually get a strike or 2 out here like that.
Rick Clunn remembered his first pro tournament as one in which he wound up with a sunburn, aching muscles, and blisters on his hand after the practice. By the time you have reached the professional circuit, fishing is no longer a simple recreation. It's a serious business. But the physical strain is only a minor part of the difficulty out here. What goes on in the minds of the competitors? The pressure, mental preparation, attitudes, concentration. That's what really takes its toll. Paul Elias is the defending champ. I know what's going on in his mind.
I feel like there's considerably more pressure on me from myself, and I'd say the crowd and everything else. You know, I won it last year, so people are looking to see what I catch. You know, I'd like to catch some fish, but there's always pressure on you in a tournament. You just got to get out there and do your best.
I think they're wrong.
Yeah, he's got the pressure on him all right. But then we all do. That's part of being a pro. Meet Cliff Kraft. He knows what it takes to be a tournament professional.
A tournament pro would be something that would be, I guess, construed as just total learning experience. If you put everything together that you've ever learned into fishing, but most of us are a little bit better than the weekend fishermen at being able to decide when we've got fish located and the ability to really work them hard and put them in the boat. And that's what it's all about at the end of the tournament weigh-in.
Take a little breath of air. Say, look at those fools over there with those artificial minutes.
The clock is important now. Time has gone by quickly, and the weigh-in deadline is starting to bear down.
All right, we're going to have lots more fishes here.
By the time we started arriving at the Cincinnati Convention Center for the official drive-in weigh-in, it was packed tighter than rubber bands on a golf ball. This crowd includes over 100 national news media, so the sporting world has its collective eyes on us.
Oh, I see some meat flopping.
It appears that the Ohio River might have been underestimated. George Cochran is filling up his sack.
All right, a nice hand for George Cochran, folks. Let's give him a hand as he comes forward with some fish. Now remember, 6 bass is the limit. That's the most they can bring in if they're lucky enough to catch 6. I got
George has 5
on.
fish.
Watch the scale. 5 pounds at 1 ounce. Let's give George Cochran a good hand.
His bass weren't hogs, but any pro will tell you that more tournaments are won with a lot of small fish than lunkers.
Now, folks, we got Randy Fight here from Montgomery, Texas. A young man, 29 years old. Randy Fight from Montgomery, Texas. So give him a nice welcome. Attaboy, Randy. 5 bass it is. 6 pounds and 1 ounce. 6-1. We got fish coming, folks, out of the Ohio River.
Ricky Green has the first limit of the day.
All right, now, folks, he had 5 bass alive, 1 deceased. Now, whatever the weight that comes out here, if it makes any difference, he'll be docked 2 ounces.
No fault of his. Sometimes you hook the fish a little deep and you can't help it. But watch the tally board, folks. We may have a new leader, and we do. 8 pounds, 6 ounces.
Ricky Green smiling like a winner.
Ricky, 6 bass. I want to ask you one question, and I know you'll tell the truth. About how many total bass did you catch today before as you shook them loose and put 6 in the sack?
I caught about 12 or 13 fish today, and I had 9 that were keepers over 12 inches.
We got a competition going, folks. That's Larry Nixon, folks, the man who won the Cincinnati tournament last July was a year ago. Larry Nixon is from Hemp Hill, Texas. He finished second in the Angler of the Year race this year. He's 32 years old. Folks, we got a limit, 6 bass. That's a second limit. All right, here we go with a 6 bass limit for Larry Nixon. And the weight, 7 pounds even, folks. Have a nice hand. Larry Nixon. Oh, we got a horse race going on. Folks, here's a fellow here you all might recognize. He finished 11th this year in the Angler of the Year race. He's 38 years old. He's the 6th time he's qualified for the Bassmaster Classic. Harold Allen finished 2nd 2 years ago in the Classic. And 13th last year. Woo! 7 pounds and 9 ounces. Oh, we got a horse race coming here. This is a great day.
How about it, Roland? You're out here now about what's this, about the 12th Classic you fished?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, but it's been a long time since we fished those 12-inch limits, and we got a 12-inch limit again. I'm so happy because I finally caught 4 fish. You know, I'd only had 1 little old fish if it had been a 14-inch limit, see, and I'd look real bad. I like catching 4 fish a day. You know, that's a big deal.
What was your biggest fish today?
About 1.5 pounds, but he was 14 inches, you know. Point is, with the 12-inch limit that we have this year, that makes it a lot better for everybody because now we can, you know, weigh in some fish for a change.
Well, do you think you can go back the next 2 days and catch more than 4 fish of the 12-inch?
How you doing? Are you a bass fisherman? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think I can catch 3 or 4 more fish a day. I really believe.
On the same pattern you're on now?
Well, see, all the fish I caught yesterday, I caught 4 in there yesterday. And those fish were not the ones I caught today because I looked in their mouth, you know. I said, hey, open your mouth. And
oh, come on now. You mean you looked to see whether you hooked them yesterday?
Well, I could tell if I caught them yesterday, right? And the fish I caught today, the 4 I caught today, were different. So I know there's at least 4 more in there. So
Absolutely. I agree. Absolutely.
We surprised everyone, even the Ohio fishermen. We have brought in a total of 87 bass from the rivers, the creeks, coves, and tributaries. And that includes 3 limits of 6 bass. And it averages out at over 2 fish per contestant. This is truly the test of the best. But what about our equipment? It too is the best of the best, manicured each day by a team of dedicated servicemen to make sure that each piece of equipment is honed to the fine point every day. In conjunction with the Classic, the Bassmasters Classic Fishing Tackle and Boat Show will offer the public over 100 exhibitors showing the latest equipment, fishing products, lures, tackle, and ideas. The complete 4-day show will take place in the Cincinnati Convention Center. While the pros are chunking and winding on the 114-mile stretch of the Ohio River, the fishing fans can view the tackle trends for '84, tagged as the Bass Angler's Fantasy Island. Hank Parker has accomplished something that we all work for. He is the Angler of the Year. That means that he has picked up enough points over the past year to earn him the honor. In other words, in the last 12 months, he has outfished us all.
I can't tell you how thrilled I am. I stood up here several years ago after winning the Classic, and I didn't feel near as good about that accomplishment as I do about this one.
we're going to get this week off on a profitable note. And for the work you did in the past, here's $2,500 in DuPont Stren, and we're proud to see you win it. You're a great guy and a great champion, right?
For the first time, DuPont Stren is presenting an award called Circle of Excellence to the fisherman that has made a major contribution to the sport of fishing.
All right, Big John, baby. I'm telling you, we love you. Before John says anything, I'd like to read this to him. I had breakfast with this guy this morning, and he didn't know why. I said, he missed last night's dinner. I said, you want to come tonight, John? Let me read this to it. It says, Stren Circle of Excellence Award, presented to Big John Powell, August 3rd, 1983, as a professional tournament bass angler who has maintained throughout his career a willingness to share his knowledge with both amateur fishermen and the manufacturers who provide products for sport fishing. He has set the standard for today's professional bass anglers. Congratulations, John.
John Powell, a veteran bass pro fisherman for 16 years, has done more for fishing than just thank you for the check. He has given his time and effort, time after time, to improve the sport of bass fishing. He is a man whose career has been distinguished not only by his success as a professional tournament angler, but his willingness to share his knowledge with others. He has maintained the highest level of sportsmanship and concern for the fishing environment, and he has shared his knowledge and time with amateur anglers. John is unmistakably a pro bass fisherman. The Circle of Excellence will be awarded each year to the most outstanding bass fisherman.
Thank you, John, and I've got a check here. I've got a check for $5,000 made out to John Powell.
Ohio is called the Buckeye State, a name it takes after the buckeye tree, which has grown abundantly in the state's forests. They even call their major college athletic team the Buckeyes at Ohio State University. For the fishermen, Ohio can be a wonderland. It has 7,000 miles of rivers and streams, 124,000 acres of inland water, and then there's the 2.25 million acres of Lake Erie. And by the way, the current state record for a largemouth bass is 13 pounds 2 ounces. Ohio is the only state in the Union that has a special department just for the promotion of fishing. It has a theme called Fish Ohio. The department has a number of objectives, but at the top of their list is a program to encourage more people to fish. Ohio was the 17th state to be admitted to the Union. It became a state in 1803, but the city of Cincinnati had already been a settlement and an active commerce community for 24 years before statehood was granted. The Ohio River runs by the stadium that is home for the Cincinnati Reds baseball team and the Bengals professional football team. Nightlife here can be reminiscent of the 19th century. Horse-drawn carriages take people around the city and to the many night spots. It's like stepping back in time to get aboard a carriage and glide through the city to a restaurant or a nightclub. But if your interests are at the docks, then you might want to relive the romance of the riverboats and paddle wheelers that flopped up and down the rivers in the innocent age of Mark Twain. But let's get back to the fishing tournament. The second day only saw a few adjustments in the standings. Ricky Green fell to second place when he could only find 4 fish. Larry Nixon was the only one to catch a limit of 6 bass, and that was good enough to take the lead. Randy Fight and Harold Allen were hanging tough after the second round, and George Cochran and Roland Martin are keeping the pressure on the leaders. Anyway, it's still anybody's tournament, and the pressure is getting intense as we fish the third and final day. See that guy over there? That's Larry Nixon. He's won over $100,000, including 5 bass titles. He's had his share of wins and losses in 44 tournaments. And he's today holding a thin lead. He's learned a lot on the fishing circuit, but where he's learned the most was not from his tournament wins, but from his losses.
You know, anytime you're fishing on a lake and you have trouble finding the fish and you just can't get the right pattern going, yet there's always somebody catches fish. And the way to increase your knowledge of bass fishing is to talk to the people that won the tournament, and if they'll give you any knowledge, and then turn right around and get back out on the body of water the next day and see if you can put that pattern to work. And that's the way you'll learn something about bass fishing.
Roland Martin has fished in all but one Bass Classic since it began 13 years ago. To him, the secret to winning any tournament is total concentration.
Well, it's always been my strongest suit to be able to concentrate. Now, 10 or 12 years ago, I had more at stake. I had a reputation at stake. I want to win the Bassmaster Classic, but to do that, I know I have to completely forget about other things, forget about my business commitments, which are a major portion of my life now, and to be able to totally concentrate on the scene. And, you know, 10 or 12 years ago, that's all I had to think about was fishing, and now I got to think about so many other things. It's a little bit tough.
Jerry Ryan is a very practical fisherman. He says that the main thing in catching bass is to just use plain old common sense.
Common sense naturally plays one of the biggest parts in bass fishing. You know, if you're fishing around a bank that didn't have any cover on it, and all at once you've seen just one little piece of cover, well, common sense would tell you to throw on that particular piece of cover. But you know, I've seen people that could catch fish as long as you put them on fish, but you know, it takes a little bit of common sense to locate some fish, and you just sort of got to think like a fish and use your own noodle a little bit.
Now, this is the 12th consecutive Classic that Ricky Green has qualified to compete in. He missed the first one, but he's been a standard fixture ever since.
To be a pro, you have to be a versatile fisherman. You have to be able to catch fish under a lot of different conditions throughout the United States. We don't fish one system as far as a lake, a river, or we fish all kind of different reservoirs and streams and stuff. And it's pretty difficult to become a pro and be a good fisherman if you aren't versatile enough to use all kinds of equipment.
That makes 4. Ricky just might pull this one off. You can be sure that every legal trick any of us have ever learned about catching bass is being put to work today. There's the matter of selecting lures. And then each of us searches out the spot where we believe the action is. There's the way we cast. If the fish are hugging structure, we have to get their attention. But we don't want to leave our lures hanging on a stump. Sometimes bass are easily spooked if the lure hits the water just a little bit too hard. So putting it out there to hit just right can mean the difference between a catch or an hour or so of frustration. That's where professional fishing skill comes in. Now, this year's tournament has had a few changes from the past competition here, and they have increased the chances for all of us. B.A.S.S Classic officials opened an additional 23 miles of river to us. Now that means we gained about 20 more creeks. Remember that creeks and tributaries are yielding the fish. There's been very few caught in the river. Another change that is added to our chances of bringing in some fish is the reduction of the keeper limit from 14 to 12 inches. Now, I'm not saying there are no bass in the Ohio River. There are bass in there, but they are not cooperating with our lures. As for me, give me Craig's Creek or some other tributary where I can read the cover and expect to find structure.
A lot of bait fish right in here. Yesterday there was more fish on this hump right in here. There's a fish right here.
Anyway, the day is wearing on and there's just a little more time left. When this day is over, one of us will walk away with a $40,000 pocket line. But more than that, winning the Bassmaster Classic opens up a myriad of opportunities for the champion. There are endorsements, sponsorships, and an overall boost in career. Every one of us wants to win this tournament, and we're putting our very best skills to work to win it. This is it. Time's up. It's 3 o'clock, and that's the deadline for getting our boats checked in. This is the end of the test of the best. We've all made mistakes. Lord knows I've made my share. Now I'm wondering what I might have done another way. Should I have changed patterns? Should I have fished deeper waters? If only I had one more day.
Hold it right there now.
Over 7,000 bass fishing fans are packed into the Cincinnati Convention Center to witness the tale of the scale. These fans are contestants too, in a way. They each have a chance in a drawing to win this beautiful Chevrolet truck presented by the Greater Cincinnati Chevrolet dealers and a fully equipped classic bass rig provided by the classic sponsors.
All right, here we go. David Horton. David Horton, remember, folks, 9th place beginning this morning.
David has 3 bass, and one's a pretty good one.
What's the weight? That ain't bad. That ain't bad. 4 pounds and 15 ounces. Let's give David Horton a good hand. David, that's good.
That should move David up in the standings.
Larry Nixon still in the lead, followed by Ricky Green, Randy Fife, Harold Allen, and George Cochran.
Kenneth Walker is in 11th place, but he has 5 fish today.
All alive and hitting the scale. Now this is going to be added to 5 pounds and 3 ounces he had the first 2 days. I wish you look what he did. 6 pounds and 6 ounces in 1 day.
Kenneth found a pattern, but 2 days too late.
Now Paul Elias, the fellow who won the Bassmaster Classic last year, just stepped out of his Bass Classic rig. He's going to make a run. He has not done worth a toot.
Paul Elias, the defending champion, has had problems all week, but it looks like his luck has changed.
5 bass, Paul Elias. What's the weight? 6 pounds, 6 ounces. Let's give him a good hand.
Paul's 5 fish moves him from 32nd to 12th place.
Stand up and stretch just a minute. A Randy Fife, Montgomery, Texas. All right, I'm told he has 3 bass, and they're apparently all alive and well. Now that'll be added, remember, to his 12 pounds, 11 ounces.
Randy has 3 fish, small ones.
3 pounds, 10 ounces. We got a new leader, folks. Randy Fife.
Randy holds the lead by 1 ounce, but Ricky Green and Larry Nixon are to come.
Now, Ricky Green is from Arkadelphia, Arkansas. Finished 10th angler of the year. This is going to be an awful, awful close deal. Now, folks, we're talking about $40,000 first prize. Second prize is $15,000. $10,000 third prize. And we're talking about cash money. All right, Ricky Green. We've got 4 bass, 4 alive. You got to have 3 pounds and 8 ounces to pull in the lead. We're talking 40,000 smackers first prize. 4 pounds, 11 ounces. All right.
Ricky Green takes the lead by 1 pound, 2 ounces.
What? Now, we don't know what Nixon's got, but we do know this. Those three men are going to share, let's see, 40, 55, $65,000, I believe. Now, Nixon has got to have how much? He's got to have 2 pounds and 1 ounce to tie. 2 pounds and 2 ounces to win it all. There's a little bitty peck of fish in there, and ain't hardly a quart of them. All right, folks, let's all hold our breath now. This is going to be awful close. Larry Nixon, it appears he's got 3 little fish. They're all 12 inches. They're all alive, and they'll all measure. Don't touch it. Don't touch the table. All right, now let's. Watch the scale now. 2 pounds and 2 to win. 2 pounds and 11 ounces, and that's our winner. Yeah, right. God, I couldn't believe it. You know what I went through to catch them 3 little man.
Larry Nixon has just walked away with first place. Larry wins the Bassmaster Classic in Cincinnati, Ohio, 1983, Classic number 13. Now, you may wonder who has been telling you the story of the 1983 Bassmaster Classic. Well, take a look at the guy with the tears collecting the first place prize. Don't be so surprised. Somebody had to tell you about my victory, and I can't think of anybody more capable than the winner himself. So that's it for 1983, and we'll all try to qualify for the return trip next year. Meantime, I can see that the film is running out, so this is the end of the story for you, but it's only the beginning for me.